Okay, so when we talk about the projects, let's start by taking an example and show you exactly what the steps you have to do. So first of all, let me take one project that is not chosen by anyone. Um, So here is a project controlling a servo motor using a joystick. Okay, we want to control a servo motor using a joystick. So the first thing you have to think about is what do we have to do? What do I have to do? What is the input and what is the output? And how am I going to interact with the people inside my project? So I want to control a servo motor. Let's assume this is my servo motor. Okay, using a joystick, and the joystick will look something like this with a circle inside. Okay, with a black circle inside. So this is my joystick. Now you have here your microcontroller, and of course each and every embedded system will need some human interaction. So this is my LCD display. This is my LCD display. So it will have a lot of lines connected here, and you have here your display. Your display should tell you, let's say, the direction of the servo motor. Now the servo motor, if I move it up, then I should move the servo motor in one direction. If I move it down, I will move it in the opposite direction. Right, I will move it in another direction. Left, in another direction. The joystick can be easily simulated in Protos. So if you just write joystick and Protos, okay, so Protos library diagram for PCB, I think. Okay, you can find a lot of simulations for a joystick on Protos. Now, if you cannot find, let's talk a little bit about the subsystems. I will talk about this project in general. So first of all, you need to figure out your system. Then you will need to have a description. Of the system. Now, when you describe the system, you need also to have a flow chart. Now, the flow chart will start with then you will have your microcontroller, your decisions. You can say if the joystick moves left, if the joystick moves right. Now, you need to have your budget. The budget will depend. You will go online and say, I want a joystick. Okay, a joystick for Arduino, let's say, because price. Because Arduino is basically a microcontroller. You can go on to Amazon and you will find the price. You see, this is the joystick I'm talking about. This joystick will cost you around 800 Pesa. So you will write the price of the joystick. You want an 80 mega, let's say you are using the 80 mega 32 price. You just write it the price, and you will find the 80 mega 32 is costing, let's say, around, this is for 5 pieces, so it will cost you around 1 Riyal 100, more or less in that range. So here for 10 pieces it will cost you something different, but this is PIC. This is the 80 mega. يعني you start calculating your budget, you make sure that you have calculated everything, and you put the budget for your system. Then we start talking about the subsystems. Now the subsystems that we have, here are, one is the joystick, the other is the servomotor, then you have the LCD screen. Sorry, this is then you will have the LCD بعدين. Okay, then you will have the LCD screen. Now these all subsystems will be connected together with the microcontroller. So in your work, what I want you to do, you start with the joystick. Now, what is a joystick? You need to read about the joystick. You need to know what is the input of a joystick. Basically, a joystick is a variable resistor. Basically, the joystick is a variable resistor. So it will move, this is R, okay, a resistance, and as you are moving, it will give you different voltage. So the voltage is variable. Now, since the voltage is variable, you need to connect it to the microcontroller through the analog to digital converter. So you connect the joystick to the analog to digital converter through the microcontroller. You need to test your output, so send the output to LEDs, like we did in class when we connected the analog to digital converter, I think through a resistance or a voltage, and we changed the analog input, and we changed the output to find the output of the LEDs. This is the first subsystem. The second subsystem is the servomotor. You need to control the servomotor using timer and counters. Okay, now once you control the servomotor and make sure that you control all the angles, you go for the final subsystem, which is the LCD. The LCD is quite easy. You can use internet resources. I'm not telling you you cannot use them, but you need to understand what you are doing. You just write 80 mega 32 LCD Protos. Okay, you will find interfacing the LCD to an 80 mega 32 microcontroller on Protos. It will give you the full details, and it will show you, give you the code, but you need to understand what you are doing over here. I think it will look something like this. This is for the LCD. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. After that, you have to do what? After that, you have to connect everything to the microcontroller in one system and show me that you can build a program that will control the servomotor using the microcontroller and display the output on the LCD. Okay, so basically that's what you have to do. Then you have to document everything. You need a schematic diagram of the circuit. Your schematic diagram is basically the end of your Protos program. You just have to print a screen and show and label everything. This is basically what is intended from you. Do you have any questions on this part?
Doctor?
نعم.
What about controlling DC motors with joystick? The same idea?
Same idea. You have شوفي, you have a joystick which is analog to digital converter. You need to connect it through the analog to digital converter, And by the way, it's not difficult to find anything. You just write on Google here LCD Protos. You just write a joystick, and you will have a lot of projects which will do that for you. Okay, I'm not telling you to copy the project, because you have to put your take the bits and pieces. It's fine. Take the joystick controller from the internet, run it, make sure it's running, it's fine, then go to the next part, then go to the next part, then at the end you have to combine everything together. So in that project you have a joystick, which is analog to digital converter. You have the DC motors, which you need to control through using the direction using the normal ports, and the speed you have to control it using the timers and counters, like we did in class. So as the joystick moves, as the resistance changes, then you will have to control the speed using the timers, counters. Remember, the joystick will change the direction up and down, so you need to change the direction of the motor in the same way.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so the groups that we have over here, you can see أهلين محمد، موجود معي في الملف محمد. Okay, see this one, power activated door lock, password activated. In the password activated door lock, you need to have a keypad included. Again, you just need to search for keypad. Sorry. And you can get something like this, a keypad on Protos, and you can use it. You need to connect motors, and you need to have a display, of course, and you need to have set your password. And this one, 2 DC motors using controlling a joystick, we just talked about it. Here, distance measurement using ultrasonic transmitter and receiver. You need to have an ultrasonic transmitter and receiver module. Again, you can have them. Here you can write ultrasonic. They have the module. This is the module for ultrasonic transmitters and receivers. You can have them, and you can use them. Then temperature controlled fan. You need a temperature sensor, and that temperature sensor will be connected to an analog to digital converter. Then the analog to digital converter will control the fan speed using timers and counters. Here, controlling servo motor using a keypad similar to the joystick, but you will have a keypad, and the keypad if you press, let's say on number 2, you will go to one direction, number 8, number 2, number 6, and number 4. You can program any number to give a direction for the servo motor and different angle. This one is controlling a servo motor using a joystick. I just talked about it. And here you have password activated lock in the same way, and the 2 motors, distance measurement, and temperature controlled fan. These are the projects. I'm not making life difficult for you. I gave you the projects. It's much more easier if I give you the projects, because I know exactly what's involved in these projects. So remember, you have module 2 and module 3 and module 4 to finish them, and basically module 3 you have to work throughout the module, and the first 1.5 week of module 4. Then we will have the presentations, and we will have the submissions. So I prefer, if you start working, divide the project into subsystems. If you have any problems in the division, just ask me, discuss with me that, and say, Doctor, we have this system. Are these the right subsystems or not? So you need to start working on the project starting today. Do you have any questions?
Doctor.
نعم.
In the subsystems, do we just write the information about the...
No. You have to build the subsystem. Subsystem كامل. اعتبره, you need to consider the subsystem as a small project. build the subsystem, build the circuit for the subsystem, test it, record your results, go to the second subsystem. Each project will have an LCD display. All the projects will have an LCD display. Whether it says or not, you need to display to the user some output for a human interaction. عرفتوا؟
قصدي دكتور يعني
Yes.
السب سيستم مثلا في الكيباد، يعني انا بجيب الكيباد وبكتب، يعني بجيب هو مثل السيركت السمبل سيركت فور ات يعني
Yes.
مثلها ابين كيف هي تشتغل يعني.
No. Just get the keypad. There is a module for the keypad. Connect the keypad, make sure it's working. This is one part. Then connect the LCD. If I was you, I first would start with the LCD. So I will put the LCD, make sure that the LCD is displaying a message. Then I will add a keypad. Keypad, the output will be LEDs. Then I will connect the LCD and the keypad to one system. If it's a door lock, you need a motor to open the door and close it. You need also to connect a motor.
ما فاهم شو دكتور.
Sorry, ايش ما فهمت؟
ما فاهم يعني ما فاهم بالضبط، يعني كل مرة أجيب شيء أركبه معاه.
كل مرة بتجيب شيء لوحده. Every time you bring something alone. First the keypad by itself, the LCD by itself, the motor by itself. Then you start connecting your system. Okay? يعني each subsystem consider it as a separate part. طبعا submission will be done through Turnitin, and just that you know, let me show you this part over here. Just that you know, I want to show you a small So here in this email we got, it says the following. It says all assessments such as assignments, lab reports, essay questions, project work must be submitted through Turnitin. If Turnitin indicates a similarity of 20% and above, this must be reported to the program coordinator, and then we will have a faculty hearing and we will have academic misconduct. This is the academic misconduct policy in the university. So you need to make sure, or you need to know that your project, yes, there sometimes you copy some parts, but when it comes to writing, I want your writing. I don't care much about the perfect English, rather than you write me the things that you think it's right. Codes, I will exclude the codes out of the copy and paste, because I know some parts of the codes are let's say standard. You cannot play around with them, but you need to figure out how to do the writing by yourself when it comes to the project submission. Any questions? Abdullah Al-Jabri, you are here? Okay, let me stop recording first.